I grew up well, with both parents who were well-educated and wanted the best for me. But I was shy. People saw me as a coward. I never fought or dated in my high school days. Despite my struggles, I managed to complete my high school education, and to my surprise, I found solace in learning. I decided to further my studies, driven by a newfound passion for education. I worked hard, earning degrees and certifications that would one day make me a principal. Years went by, and I landed my first job as a vice principal at a local school. For 3 years, I honed my skills, learning from experienced administrators and teachers. But then tragedy struck. The principal, my mentor and friend, passed away in a horrific car accident. The news shook me to my core. Suddenly, I was thrust into the role I had been preparing for but never thought I'd assume so soon. I was now the principal, but I didn't know where to start. To make matters worse, the teachers and students didn't respect me at all. They saw me as a pushover, a weak leader who couldn't command authority. I tried everything to earn their respect, but nothing seemed to work. Desperate for a solution, I turned to the nearest traditional healer for help. One weekend, I decided to visit the traditional healer I had heard about. I had never been to one before, but I was desperate. I felt like I had tried every conventional solution, and nothing had worked. I was willing to try anything, to regain control of the school and earn the respect of my students and teachers. I told him exactly what I came there for. I poured out my heart, sharing my struggles and frustrations. I placed the money on the floor, and he didn't flinch. He just nodded and began chanting. After a few minutes, he handed me a small container, about the size of a lotion bottle. It was a rub-like gel, and he told me to apply it to my face every night before sleep, until it ran out. I went home and followed the instructions to the core. Every night, I applied the gel to my face, feeling a strange tingling sensation as I drifted off to sleep. At first, I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary, but as the days went by, I started to sense a subtle shift in the atmosphere at school. Kids and teachers alike seemed to be more aware of my presence, more attentive to my words. But then, 3 months later, on a day that seemed like any other, something snapped inside me. A student had disobeyed me, and I felt a surge of rage course through my veins. In a moment of unbridled anger, I physically beat her. It seemed like a simple punishment at the time, a necessary measure to maintain order. But 3 weeks later, she hanged herself. I didn't make much of it, but then it happened again 6 months later. Another student who had disobeyed me met a tragic end, run over by a car in the morning. Whoever I beat, whoever faced my rage, ended up passing away. I thought back to the traditional healer, to the gel he had given me, and I wondered if it had cursed me. Had I made a pact with a dark force, trading my authority for a terrible power? I didn't know, but I knew I had to find out. I had to uncover the truth behind the healer's remedy and the string of tragic deaths that followed. As my career progressed, I decided to settle down and start a family. I got married to a wonderful woman, and we had a beautiful son. I thought that having a family would bring me balance, would calm the rage that simmered within me, but it only seemed to make things worse. I was more stressed, more anxious, and the rage grew stronger. Now, I've been promoted to lead the principals, and I'm scared. I'm scared of what I might do next, of who might be my next victim. I'm scared of losing control, of giving in to the rage that simmers just below the surface. And then, the unthinkable happened. I almost beat my own son. I was yelling at him, my fists clenched, when I saw the fear in his eyes. It was the same fear I had seen in the eyes of those students, the same fear that had driven them to their deaths. I stopped myself just in time, but the realization hit me like a ton of bricks.